Uh-oh. Texas, tuck and tail, back to Austin. Welcome back, Jack Mack, High Top Sports Georgia. Got a great show for you today. I just had this thought. After a roller coaster of a season, ups, downs, negativity surrounding the quarterback at times, other parts of the team, off the field, look at where we are, sitting pretty, right where we should be, on top of the Southeastern Conference once again. How about them Dogs? Clap it up. Great victory. I tried to tell people before the week, how is Texas going to fix getting dominated on the line of scrimmage in game one and completely turn that around in the SEC championship game? They had a good start, but could not do it for 4 quarters. The championship pedigree from Georgia won out in the end. Championship coaching. Kirby with a master class of a game. Bobo, not so much, but Kirby, that fake punt. Going to get into all that, getting ahead of myself here. But to lay out what I'll talk about on the show today, obviously the game, key players, Dalen, Everett. We're going to get into Greg Sankey, sourpuss at the podium next to the 2024 SEC champions. Going to get into the bracket that just dropped. Georgia sitting in prime position to go get their 3rd national championship in 4 years. Man, can you tell I'm amped up? Full disclosure, I've already recorded one of these, and it was completely silent, so I was speaking into a void. But hey, no worries. I got all the energy in the world to talk Georgia football. So first, that defense. So many questions over the last couple of weeks. UMass. Oh, Georgia let up 21 points to UMass, 21 points in the first half even. If you can't stop a running game against UMass, what are you going to do? Next week, Georgia Tech, the quarterback's name is escaping me. Haynes King, looking like Cam Newton out there against us, 40 points. What is Georgia going to do? Texas has been looking a lot better. Georgia's been looking a lot worse. Well, guess what? I'm trying to tell everybody, again, it's not a good trait, but Georgia, they do play to their level of competition. And guess what? When the lights are bright, they got something to play for. There's some hardware sitting behind the counter for us to go get. We will show up. I don't know why we have to convince so many people that if we're playing in a big game, we will show up. Again, Bama, aside from playing them, we show up. So, was going back and forth with a bunch of Texas fans over the last week. They were so confident about this game. I'm like, look, man, how are you going to be able to guard Jalen Walker? How are you going to be able to guard Warren Brinson? They were not able to do it in that first game. And the same thing is that reason is really why Georgia won. Again, it seemed like every time Texas crossed the 50, we get a timely sack, timely tackle for loss. MVP. Dalen Everett. Him coming off the edge, it seems like we saved those corner blitzes from Dalen only against Texas. But man, does he get home when they send him. Don't throw this guy's way. He has 4 picks, 2 games, forced fumble against Texas. The guy is a machine, and we needed it because on the other side, Daniel Harris was letting up a catch every time they threw his way. Need to get that addressed as we face some more teams that can really sling the rock, i.e. Oregon, Ohio State. Got to get that fixed. But again, I am so pleased. There is nothing better as a Georgia fan than seeing our defensive line get to the quarterback. If you look year by year, when Georgia is winning championships, their defensive line in big games plays unbelievable. 6 sacks today. Man, it fixes so many things. Quarterback making mistakes, not catching the football, having a great defense can hide so many things. Growing up, you always hear the saying, offenses win games, defense.
Of course, this show is brought to you by BetUS. And when you use the code YouTube150 at BetUS.com on your first deposit, you get back 150%, up to $2,000. Now, you can gamble on NFL, college football, basketball, baseball. The World Series are coming up. We got college football at an all-time high. Heisman winners are going back and forth. Who's going to the SEC? Who's going to the Big 12? All kinds of things. You can literally gamble on anything you set your pretty little mind to. And on your second and third deposit, you get back 125%, up to $2,000. So be sure to go check out BetUS.com. Use the code YouTube150 to take advantage of these offers while they still last. Now back to the show.
Defenses win championships. I always kind of thought it was BS until this Georgia Bulldogs team came around post 2020, and that's the case. If our offense is struggling, our defense plays twice as good. If our defense is struggling, our offense is slinging the rock. It's what we call complementary football, and Georgia's the best at it. So it's just so different from the national championship teams. We're making mistakes. We're winning games ugly. I like to, equate this Georgia-Texas rivalry just this year, I guess, to kind of Georgia-Alabama. Texas looking good all year long, destroying everybody they play. Everyone thinks, oh, they're going to beat Georgia. But what does Georgia do? What championship teams do? They muck it up. They hit you in the mouth for 4 quarters. Their goal is to get to the 4th quarter, and they know they're going to make a play. They know that their seniors, the guys that have been there before, are going to make a play to win the football game. Our goal is to get it to the 4th because we know we have the endurance, and we just have – it's not even confidence. We know we're going to win these games, and people are going to act like this is cringe. But look, Georgia Bulldogs win football games. That they believe it. That's why they win so many of these close games. They know that's what they do. They've done it before. They've been there, done that. And I feel like people overlook that at times. And look, going into a 12-team playoff, there's nobody more battle-tested than the 2024 Georgia Bulldogs. So, again, back to this Alabama versus Georgia, Georgia versus Texas. I feel like it's kind of the same. We're without Saban. This may be the new rivalry, Georgia-Texas. And Georgia is going to be taking the place of Alabama with the just with what Georgia-Alabama used to be. Georgia's going to be Alabama in this Georgia-Texas rivalry. So look forward to, who knows, we might have to play them another time this season. I might have to go back and forth with more Texas fans, but guess what? Bring it on. I got a cowboy hat just in case to take to Atlanta with me if we do play them. But my prediction right now with this field is Oregon, Georgia. Dan Lanning, pupil versus teacher for it all. Oregon versus Georgia. That's really the team I'm most scared about. I think Georgia handles every game. Oregon is the one that I have question marks around, just initially looking at the bracket. So yeah, getting into the quarterback situation, I had some debates with my friends. Oh, Gunnar Stockton's the guy. We may not have a choice. Carson Beck may be out for the remainder of the season. Gunnar Stockton, he played great. I mean, he provided a spark in the second half. Bobo came out with the best play calling I've ever seen in his entire life with that drive to open the 3rd quarter. And, Gunnar did play good, but what was the major difference between what Carson was doing and what Gunnar was doing? Not a lot. Gunnar ran, but what did our receivers do? They caught the football. Arian had 4 drops in the first half. Gunnar throws a laser to him to start off the second. He caught it. He caught every ball in the second half. So, again, Gunnar played great, but it was not Carson's fault that we did not play great in the first half. Our receivers did not catch anything. There were 3 or 4 balls right in the breadbasket. I can picture a deep one right now to Arian. I know Arian, Kirby likes to play his older guys, trust him, but give Tuggle a chance. Nitro Tuggle. I mean, he has the most drops in college football. We cannot trust him down the stretch. So receivers continue to be an issue. We got to catch the football. I mean, put them in a dark room, give them the Aaron Rodgers treatment. I don't know. Put them in a dark room, make them feel their senses again. We need something because I can see it now late in the game, in a playoff, a drop ball is going to cost us. So Gunnar, back to the Gunnar thing. I get sidetracked. Gunnar played good. He obviously brings another level that the defense has to defend, running the football, which he did great of. And Georgia with a running quarterback will be scary. I mean, Carson, this is not a hate Carson segment, but this offense is designed for a Stetson, a Gunnar Stockton, someone that can sling it plus run it a little bit with the read option. So you could see Texas was a lot more confused in the second half, didn't have as much of an answer, definitely didn't have a plan before that game started for if Gunnar Stockton took over. But obviously his legs provided a huge spark. Getting up, that first down that he had running over a Texas cornerback was just great. You see the spark, like, okay, these guys are fighting for Gunnar. So yeah, Dogs are SEC champs. We're looking pretty. We're about to go win our 3rd national championship in 4 years. If I had a choice, I would take Carson Beck. I trust him way more going down the stretch. I know he has lots of picks, but over the last 3 games, he has 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It looks like he could need Tommy John. I'm hearing rumblings about Tommy John. He might miss the first game. So he may not have a choice. But look, Georgia fans, did you see that pick that he threw, Gunnar Stockton? It was the worst pick I've ever seen. If we have a choice, let's take the veteran who we know he makes some mistakes. But look, he's had a full season. He's gone through all these moments. I trust him more to not make that decision that Gunnar made in the fourth quarter. I mean, that almost lost us the game. We almost did not get to an overtime because of that decision. Half of that I blame on Bobo. Run the football, kick it, make it a 6-point game, make them score a touchdown to win the game. Don't put it in your quarterback who's making his first appearance under the lights. I didn't like the play call, but the decision, you can just take the sack. You cannot throw it straight to the other team. So that was bad to watch. But look, we got the W. And again, the theme of this show, the theme of what I want to get across is it's not going to be pretty with this Georgia football team, but we have the championship DNA to muck it up, make it a fourth quarter game, make a play in the fourth to win the game. Dan Jackson against Georgia Tech, we got it to the fourth. He made a play, fumble, we win the game. So that's going to be the theme for Georgia heading into the playoff. We may not have our best stuff every game, but if we can muck it up, hit people for 4 quarters, win the line of scrimmage, which we've done in every single game except for that first half against Alabama, look, we're going to be just fine. And I expect us to be betting favorites in every game that we play in up until Oregon. I think Oregon might be a pick 'em spread. They looked pretty good against Penn State. But hey, we got some time to get healthy. Georgia Bulldogs, Carson Beck, lay up with your girl, ain't going to attack you. Get well. Hopefully we see him, if not that first playoff game, once it gets to the Final Four. But look, I have faith in Gunnar. Look, we got 3 weeks to get him ready, and we got a good draw. It's going to be a Big Ten team coming in that Final Four game. So we're going to be betting favorites. One thing on the playoff bracket, me and JT spoke about it. The SEC championship, the SEC in general, all year long, people talk about an SEC bias. I think this entire time it's a cover-up from this Big Ten bias. The Big Ten does not play anybody. They're not very good at all. It's going to get exposed soon. So I would love to be Cignetti. I would love for Georgia to play Cignetti in that game. I would love to stomp out that Sig like Will Howard did. But we'll take whoever we got. I mean, look, Georgia's played a gauntlet of a schedule, and I'll touch on that now. Greg Sankey, sourpuss, sitting next to Kirby Smart. I mean, can someone tell the guy to smile? I mean, he was so pissed off that entire time. And Kirby, balls of steel, going after him, making us go on the road all year long. Those little snide comments from Kirby. Look, where was this last year, Kirby? We won the SEC championship. We don't need any lobbying from you, right? I mean, we won the game. Like, they have to put us in the championship. There's no need to make anyone mad. Last year, when we were undefeated and we lose to Alabama in the SEC championship game, that's when I want you to cause mayhem and go to social media, say Sankey did this and that to us. But when we win, let's just shut up, show that we've been there before. And Kirby, I love you. You're captain, But look, I mean, we got to have some grace here when we win. But look, all smiles here. Dawgs are SEC champs. And I will see you in a couple days with JT to discuss the playoff and how we see it shaking out. But thanks again, Dawgs on top. If you could, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.